Hello, you're watching the Crypto Report on Proactive. Back with us after traveling halfway around the world is Billy Farrington. Billy, good trip. How far did that crypto get you?
Oh, it was a very good trip. Sold a bit of crypto to pay for it, to be honest. And given these elevated prices over the last couple of months, not right now, did actually help me pay for my trip for a little bit. So thank you, and I'm very happy to be back.
You said not right now. What's happening with Bitcoin's poor performance at the moment?
Yeah, it has been a bit of a drubbing this week, to be honest, Stephen, where I'm looking at about negative 10% week on week. So yeah, very poor performance. Down a few percent today, down a few percent yesterday and the day before. To be honest, it's looking at about 4 month lows against the US dollar right now, bringing week on week performance, as I said, to about negative 10%. Not a good time right now, and you probably don't want to be cashing out your Bitcoin right now if you're anticipating a bit of a rebound. And the dip in prices has led to a bit of a rout in the futures markets. Long liquidations have ramped up. Looking at the figures here, about $300 million of long positions wiped from the market today. About more than 400 million yesterday, and about 200 million the day before. So all these longs getting wrecked pretty bad right now, given this fairly unexpected, I suppose you would say, dramatic decline in the price of Bitcoin. And I guess there's some very sort of obvious reasons why. Well, didn't say obvious, maybe not so obvious, but there are some anyway reasons why we're seeing this fall in prices. There are a few whales, whales being large scale holders of Bitcoin, generally over 1% of total supply. There have been some whales moving their crypto around, and looks like they might be ready to start selling some of their supply at large quantities. These whales being the Mt. Gox administration estate. Mt. Gox was a crypto exchange about a decade ago. It collapsed, sort of the forerunner to FTX, I suppose you could say. And the administration estate holds about $8 billion of Bitcoin. And the German government has a few $1 billion at hand as well. Now, both of these whales have started moving their crypto on chain, which generally suggests they're looking to get rid of it, right? And that has more or less spooked the market a little bit by the looks of it. And that's where we're at right now.
Do we know what the value stake is here, Billy?
Yeah, well, put together, like, I mean, if you combine Mount Gox's and the German governments and the US government also has a large stake, we're looking at about $10 billion worth of Bitcoin that is at stake. How much of this is going to be sold and converted into fiat? Like, no one knows. Like this Mount Gox Bitcoin that's been distributed to former customers of the exchange. Some of them might want to hold on to it. Some of them might want to cash out and convert it to dollars. That could be likely, considering even though we've seen a dip recently, the Bitcoin price is still like high historically speaking. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to see $10 billion of redemptions. That's probably a bit too high, but we will see some redemptions. We don't know the exact amount, but there is about 10 billion at stake, and that's not a small amount whatsoever. And it's almost irrelevant in the short term because crypto traders they're very they like their knee jerk reactions, shall we say? So even though no one actually knows how much is going to be redeemed. They're still kind of spooked and they're kind of betting on it happening, thus pushing the price lower.
With the UK elections largely wrapped up, will there be any feed through to the cryptocurrency markets, Billy?
Yeah, well, I think it probably not particularly. Like the UK rarely has the capacity to influence the Bitcoin and the wider crypto markets. To be completely honest, it's very much a US centric kind of narrative around crypto. On the other hand, though, we've got the US elections coming up. It's only in 5 or so months, and that's very high stakes. I say very high stakes for the cryptocurrency markets. Uh, it's an interesting one because, well, as we kind of probably all saw last week, Joe Biden didn't put in a very good performance on the debate stage, and that increased the odds, shall we say, of a Republican victory. But who knows? Biden might step aside and get somebody else in. I don't know. No one really knows. But regardless, a Trump presidency in some ways could be seen as a positive because he's he's quite a libertarian and he's quite he's been quite sort of liberal in his approach to crypto, and I think he's kind of not anti-crypto, whereas quite a lot of members of the Democrat Party are. However, I think a Trump presidency might have negative implications for other reasons, more macro reasons, given like his populist spending policies that he's floated. US is struggling to keep inflation down, and if he wants to go ahead with these sort of populist policies, well, that could spook that could cause an inflation spike. And that's a bit of a worry, not just for Bitcoin, but for, risk assets in general, the stock market in general. So I think, I mean, there could be some negative implications for a Trump presidency. There could be some positive ones on the regulatory side, though. But that would become clearer as the debate rages on, and we see how things shape over in the US.
So lots of moving parts at the moment. Billy, thanks as always for your insights.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
That's Proactive's Billy Farrington.